And I do consider myself an out of the box problem solver because I have heard so many times, and you've even said it to me when I said, "Oh, how about this?" You go, "Oh, I never thought of that."
That's exact. And I think the thing with that is, well, maybe the tip one is let your emotion go. Let your desperation, your emotion, your I've got to get it done, that
Mm-hmm.
crazy head that I had
Mm-hmm.
out of this call. Maybe that maybe let the desperation go. But that when you let the attachment, that's probably the better word.
Yeah,
When you
that's
let
a good one.
go of all things,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm going to say all things, then it eases up.
Yep.
Debz is a stressologist. She will stretch your mindset to think bigger than you've ever thought before, with follow-through techniques that are realistic and achievable to blow any fear out of your mind. Moira is a mindset cultivator. She will help you align your personal trinity of self-trust, inner awareness, and self-confidence so that you discover and share your unique gifts and purpose. Together, their goal with these conversations is to share how our inclinations do not always work in our best interest and to provide the knowledge to leverage the gifts that already exist within each one of us. Their desire is to help you learn how to access the habits and behaviors that will lead to positive change and your best quality of life. Welcome to your deliciously motivated mindset.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. Welcome, dear listeners. Welcome, dear Deb.
Welcome.
Welcome to another one of our deliciously motivated mindset podcast chit chats conversations. I am so excited for this one. This is because this is totally how I roll in my business and in my personal life. We are going to riff about and really unpack this whole idea about tips to inspire out of the box problem solving. It's such an important piece to me because, you know, anytime somebody tells me that it has to be done a certain way, that immediately makes me think, oh, wait, I have to listen to me, not be told an in the box solution.
I did that before we started. I said, "Oh, we're supposed to do that. We should be doing this," and you're like, "Mm-hmm." I was like, "Oh no." that was when we first started talking prior to this. It's like, "Oh, here it
Exactly.
goes."
Yep, yep. So, dear listeners, excited to have this conversation with you and with my dear friend here, with Deb. But before we get into, investigating and contemplating these different tips, we do our little check-in. And we're doing this check-in. I like to think of this as our PEMS check-in. And so PEMS stands for your physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. Where are you? And we rate ourselves on a scale of 0 to 10. At 0, it's everything's calm and peaceful. 0 for Zen. And then at 10, it's about feeling stuck and chaotic and discombobulated. And the truth is, we actually move up and down that scale. This tool, or this wee PEMS check-in, is merely a self-assessment, and it actually also helps you release. You know how sometimes we can feel like we're in a wee bit of a state where maybe we're feeling a bit panicky or anxious or discombobulated. It's one of my favorite words. So when we kind of just pause, I like to put my hands over my heart to do this. Pause, come into, oh, I'm at a 4, let's say. And then immediately you can say, is there's no more, I wonder how come, and what's this? It's just, okay, this is what I'm feeling. And then you can look at what it is you need in order to create a wee bit more of harmonious flow. So this is just an assessment. And so we are all assessing and just setting a number now. And then listeners, we encourage you to just check in again with yourself at the halfway point, and then we all check in again at the end. And of course, our intent is to meet you wherever you are and lovingly, gently, kindly inspire you to move towards that 0. So all that being said, dear Deb, what's your number?
Well, I've gone, as you've been talking, my numbers have gone right down, right back up. Because as I was talking to you, an email came in that I had to quickly resolve. And I'm like, oh my God, and that
Oops.
took me to an 8 because I was trying to listen to Moira. And I'm like, Deborah, why are you even looking at that? So my whole head, I was having a huge story go on. So I'm actually going to say I'm a 2.
There you go.
But there was a huge story in my head to go, what number am I? And I want to emphasize to everybody, would like to emphasize that you don't have to do a Deborah. You don't have to have this whole, what am I? What number am I? Well, this is a lot of pressure on me. No, there's no pressure. And you have this whole, it's just a bloomin' number.
Just a number.
But I'm a
And
2.
it's a tool. It's a gift. It's a
Mm.
tool and it's a gift to you be utilized by you. So you're a 2. I'm actually a 1. I had dithered as to whether I was at a 2, so maybe I was tapping into your energy. And I thought, no, actually, as I sit here and get into this inspiring vibe that we're going to talk about, the tips to inspire out of the box problem solving, that just makes me giddy and grin.
The title even sits at a 2 for me because it's quite exciting.
It's
not
yes. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't feel neutral to the title, which is a 0, but I actually have this inspired energy. I'm like, yeah, this is a goodie.
Yeah,
I'm rubbing my hands together. That's what I feel.
Mhm.
That's actually what I feel when someone presents a quotation problem to me. I
Right.
go, whoa, goodie, and I literally feel like I'm rubbing my hands together, like, ha ha ha. But that's what I feel like with that title. So even the 2 of the number is also on that title. I'm thinking, but this is a goodie. This is a goodie. This is what juices me up. This is these problem solving when people present something, you're like, oh my gosh. And I know Moira's the same.
Yeah, we are both problem solvers. That's kind of what inspires us to do the work we do, is that we are. And I do consider myself an out of the box problem solver because I have heard so many times, and you've even said it to me when I said, oh, how about this? You go, oh, I never thought of that.
That's exact. And I think the thing with that is, well, maybe the tip one is let your emotion go. Let your desperation, your emotion, your I've got to get it done, that crazy head that I had out of this call. Maybe that maybe let the desperation go. But that when you let the attachment, that's probably the better word.
Yeah,
when
that's
you let
a good one.
go of all things, and I'm going to say all things, then it eases up.
Yep.
And 99, I'm going to say 99.9 because there might be somebody who's going to present something that I can't prove, so they could have the 0.1. But 99.9% of the time, when you've let that attachment go, that's when the universe provides.
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. That's that surrender part.
Well,
and
it's a trust too.
Yeah.
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 That actually, the surrender and trust, I think, belong in a tip on their own.
I was like, actually, you know what? They're actually 2 separate tips.
Yeah, they are. Hey, dear listeners, I didn't say it, but I implied it. I think that we need to, I inspire you to pick up your note-taking device, whether that's a pen, pencil. It's a pencil for me.
A pencil. Yeah, we just got a little bit excited about.
I know, it's like, oh my God, let's tell you, let's start getting into these tips.
Letting the attachment go eases. I mean, and then there's another one after that. But letting the attachment go, as my cousin would say, calms your farm. It just eases your heart rate, and it just brings you closer to okay, it's gonna, it's okay. And then that surrender, and then that trust. So surrendering is actually, you know what, that's all part of letting that attachment go. And the trust that it's going to work out. Even if you've been burnt before, and the truth is you actually haven't been burnt before, you just haven't seen the amazing, magical
the gift of it.
Gifts that's been given to you. So you're still sitting in that out of gratitude state. So even if you feel like you've been quotation burnt before, it's okay to trust. It's still okay to trust because, as I said, you haven't seen that, as you would say, gifts. Yeah.
Absolutely. I've added a tip here, and it's kind of synthesizing some of the things that you've just said. But what I think is really, really important to get into this out of the box problem solving aspect is I say access and walk with your truth. And you know how I kind of said this in a jokey fashion at the beginning, that if somebody knows that I'm in a bit of a pickle or I have something to solve or to resolve or navigate through, and if somebody says, "Oh, Moira, all you have to do or all you should do is this, this, this. Here's your 3 steps." I I will thank and appreciate that person giving me that, but I'm not going to walk with it if it doesn't jive with my own sense of yes. Do you know what I mean? It's like it has to be run through what's right for me. What's the authentic, sits right at my heart level guidance.
That your morals and ethics that say,
Mm-hmm.
so don't go against your core soul. Don't go against, yeah, I'm having a mind fart, mind blank.
But
But don't go against your core
your
beliefs,
core
your stuff.
beliefs, your core values, your
Yeah.
integrity, your authenticity. Yes, because and so here's a little tip for you to go with that one is that watch your own verbiage because I hear people doing this is that they'll have a situation and then they'll go, "Oh, I should do this." Well, you have to look and unearth what is navigating or animating that should. Is it because they tell you, or that person said, or you're comparing yourself to somebody else, or you're caring too much about what somebody else might think of you? Because as soon as we start saying should, you're giving your power away, and maybe you haven't allowed yourself the the respect and the contemplation of, is this in alignment with my values, my beliefs, my authentic nature? Does that make sense, Deb?
Yeah. You're 100%, and I think that's actually a tip on its own. I just have to go because it's I'm should is it someone else's feedback to you totally.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing with that is find the tribe, the right community around you, the right people around you is really, really, really important, because what do they say, a problem shared is a problem halved.
Yeah.
Already.
Mm-hmm.
So if you share it with 5 people there, it's halved each time. Not quite, but
Mm-hmm.
but be aware of who you have around you. I actually saw a Facebook meme yesterday and I quite liked it, and it said, don't let anyone else tell you how to tie your shoes if they've never tied your shoes before.
Oh yes, I've seen that one myself, and absolutely,
And
100%.
I just went, oh, that's such a simple way of saying it. Like, don't let others walk, give you advice if they haven't walked in your shoes, those things. But I liked that because you want people who have experienced stuff before and have a little bit of an understanding of you as a person before they give you advice. But in saying that, Moira and I don't need to know you as a person to help you along with whatever that is.
Right.
So find the ones who lift you up, but don't destroy your soul. Like, you can't do that and that's their own stories. Does that all make, there's
It
a lot
does.
of,
It does 100% because
sum that up, Moira.
you know what you were reminding me of, and you've shared your stories of how people came to you when you were pregnant and shared from that perspective, and lots of people would say, oh, this is how you deal with it. I was having a conversation with a client just recently when she was telling me that when she was pregnant with twins, she was having all these people coming to her, oh, this is how you have to deal with your pregnancy and do this. And she had this really great way of dealing with people approaching her, wanting to give her advice, saying, oh, really? You've experienced having twins before?
I had a piece of water in my mouth that nearly came right out.
And as
That's
soon
a great one.
I know, and as soon as the person went, no, okay, thanks, and let it go. I thought that was brilliant
It's a
because
lovely way to slice somebody but not slice them.
yes,
And
but
to own your own power. That's a great, I hadn't even thought of it. Damn, she's
she,
good.
She's good. Absolutely. No, and I thought, but isn't that a beautiful example of, and like you say, it was an example of them shutting it down, but in a very gracious, kind way,
A
right?
graceful way that you didn't even know you got sliced until you walked away and went, wow, that told me. But
Yeah,
it's a beautiful way of acknowledging them. Everyone wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged.
right.
I don't mean to dismiss it. Everyone wants to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. I'm just
Yeah.
getting that out there deeper. And you've seen and you've heard and you've acknowledged that person, so they feel they've given some value,
Mhm.
and you've also given value back to yourself, and you've taken that level of self-control.
Ownership. Yeah,
Yeah.
ownership of what's right for you. Because
Mm.
you know how you said earlier, a problem shared is a problem halved.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's halved literally because we spoke it out loud. That's all we needed to do, right?
But not brilliant. Yes, and there's so many people who say to me, "Oh, I've booked a call with you, or on Friday, and today's Tuesday."
Mhm.
And then you talk to them on Friday, and they go, "You wouldn't believe it. That problem I had just started to shift.
Right.
Already started to shift." I'm like, "Of course, because your first level of commitment to yourself is you've acknowledged A, you've got a problem,
Yeah.
but problem, glitch, whatever you want to call it. And B, I know someone who can help me, and you have certainty in that.
Yeah.
So instantly you've done two major turns in that problem.
Absolutely. Problem.
And
And we're putting it problem in quotes.
yeah. My fingers are going all around here on this one. But it is that whole thing, that problem halved. And it is that, calm your farm down a little bit, just like, okay.
You know, a tip that I would really like to bring into this conversation here about that idea of speaking it out. My own belief system is that we are never, never given a problem that we cannot come through. And so,
It
however,
needs a post-it note. Like that
I
needs a
know,
post-it note or a reminder. The universe is not going to give you a problem you cannot resolve.
yes, yes. Now, having said that, I know in my own life, I've been in some pretty huge
Problems.
problems where if you told me when I was sitting in it that I was going to be able to deal with it, or I would be able to successfully come through it, I wouldn't have known that. But
Would
it's
have head
holding on to it. But it's holding on to, just because I can't see it right now doesn't mean it's not there, right? My own resilience, or my own capacity, or my own um uh, adaptability and openness. I can. So it's just like, if I sit and look at all the things I can't do, maybe sometimes that needs to be the part of the out of the box problem solving, is I can't do this, can't do this, can't. Okay, good. Now I'm really clear on what I can do.
Now I've got all the weeds out. Now I
Yeah.
can start flowers now. Yep.
Yeah.
Different level of thinking. Well, I mean, I think yes. And one of the things I love is being able to write it down, because
Yeah.
getting it out of your head and writing it on paper. Oh, here's a tip, by the way, writing it down. Is actually allows you to go, oh, it's not as big as what I thought. Or
Yeah.
I've got so many things to do, and I've got only 8 hours to do it, and I've got 80 hours of work to be done in 8 hours. How am I going to do it? Then write it all down, and then you can start looking at it clearly, because when it's in your head, you are a 10. You are the Christmas tree tangled lights. You look at the garden and all you see is weeds. You don't see the 3 beautiful flowers that can grow amongst all the weeds. Like you just literally just see all the negative, all the bad, all the downsides of everything. And it can just shift it by putting it on paper. And then you go, and then on paper, and then you can look at your PEMs.
Yeah.
Because
That's a good, yeah.
You go, well, no wonder I was a blooming 10. Look at that.
Look at all this stuff.
And I had a guy, actually, he just did it the other day. I said to him there was a lot going on, and I do this constantly with people, is just get it out of your head. And I said, just now, let's on the Zoom call, just take some time. I'll disappear for a sec, come back, write everything that's going on in your head, like all the things that you think you've got to achieve. He wrote 3.5 pages.
That's crazy.
And
I call this a brain dump.
yeah, the
Yeah.
brain, and then they're left with, and I'm like, no wonder you haven't slept.
Yeah.
No wonder you can't have clarity on anything. Look, and he's like, wow. He goes, I feel so much better. I'm like, yeah, well, wait till we start tackling it. But even that, just taking it out of that brain dump, frees up so much space in your mind to bring in inspiration and glitter and the flowers
Appreciation and yeah.
that have been squashed. Yeah.
But don't you think that sometimes even when we take that moment to write everything down, because I am a big, big believer in writing down everything, and doing these brain dumps. But sometimes, don't you find this, that sometimes we might have things in our head of like, oh, I've got to do this and I've got to write that and I've got to remember this and I've got to, that when you write them down, it's like, oh, I actually don't need to get that out until next week. Or
Yeah, because it
it's like,
frees it.
yeah.
All of a sudden you write it down, you're like, oh, that's not essential. I can do that.
Yeah,
Or
I can delegate it, or I
prioritize.
can prioritize it, or I can say, okay, tomorrow at such and such a time, that's when it's taken care of. Whereas, and I think that it's our own desire to be of service and be productive and look after all the responsibilities that we have, that we tend to implode sometimes of like, "Oh, I got so many things to do." But, and
Yeah.
yes, we do. But by putting them down, then, because you know the other thing that I love with my to-do lists, and it's always there, but I love the ticks. I love the, yep,
Oh,
that's done, that's done, that's done. Yeah. Oh, look,
ah,
I've
yeah.
taken care of that too. But then also, even if things have to get carried forward, I'm being very mindful. It's
It's
okay.
okay.
It's
It's
okay.
still, I think the thing is not respecting what's on your list.
Yes.
Be mindful of what's on you and respect it. And if it's been there for 3 weeks, freaking move it on. Like seriously, if it's been there for 3 weeks and you haven't done this urgent task for 3 weeks, yep, I'll write that article today, Brian. As I say that to myself, I'm like, well, that's on my list. Then it's not for you. Yes, it is, Brian. But it's not for you and I think the other tip I would like to emphasize is we as women, and there's also
we as women.
we as women, we have this image of, okay, so I'm categorizing it woman. We have this category that we have in our head that we have to be Wonder Woman. We have to do everything on our own. Now, I'm actually 100% categorizing this as a woman because I am a woman. I'm speaking from a single mother perspective here, that I needed to put my Wonder Woman knickers on and do everything, never ask for help. And there's men out there who just will, and it's a banter in cars apparently, that you have a man driving and he never asks for directions. So I'll throw that one out there. There's a lot of stereotypical stuff, but we don't have to put that persona on us.
No.
We can delegate stuff, or we can prioritize it differently, or whatever, but we don't have to do everything all the time. And you're not a bother to people.
Yeah.
You know, I don't want to be a bother and ask for help. Oh my God, you're about ready to kill you. You know, you're about ready to
topple over.
Yeah, you need help. Oh, yeah. I don't want to ring. You know, it's those old people I laugh at. Oh, that sounds even wrong. I'm actually going to say this, but they laugh and they're like, oh, I didn't want to. I remember my great auntie Floss. Oh, I don't want to ring an ambulance because I've broken my hip or done this. And I'll be like, what? I don't want to bother them.
I don't want to be a bother. I don't want to be a bother.
Other priorities. What? So you want to lie in there in pain for 6 hours before something? What? Are you serious? Are you serious? Like, you're not a bother to people.
Mm-hmm.
I think maybe that's a tip on its own. You are not a bother, but forget the persona of having to do everything on your own. And that's to all the single parents out there as well, you know, and you've been burnt before, or whatever you want to label it, you know, but we don't have to. I mean, I know when I go to Moira, just a quick, oh, Moira, I've got this, we had a problem this morning, and just shared it with Moira, and next thing it's done. Well, actually, we probably spent quite some time trying to figure it out because it was a little bit of a complexity, but 2 heads together. And, you know, I didn't want to take the burden of having to carry this on my own. So I'm like, Moira, help. And Moira laughs and goes, it's really easy.
Or
for
because
you.
it's out the box. But
Yeah,
you know, that's
because
actually a really good
it's
point.
IT.
Yes. It is a really good point because I know for myself that I have been more into the I have to do this and I have to do this and I'm not going to ask for help because you know I've got this skill set or I've got the ability or the capacity. But of course, this is me talking as the person who has had multiple burnouts in my life also. Because
Yeah.
of that propensity to keep doing and doing and doing, I can do this and I can do this and I'll do this for that. It's being that driven A-type personality can kind of, you know, kind of be the one that fires that up. But
Mm.
the key piece is that when we don't take time for ourselves, take time to check in and you know, prioritize things, then the universe kind of smocks us on the head and says, hey, you need to slow down. Like you were saying about asking for help.
I was actually just going to say, when the physical symptoms come in,
Yep.
it's time to wake up.
It really is. Yeah, when the
But
physical symptoms, because you've ignored it for so long.
the physical symptom can be as small as, oh, my back feels a little bit painful.
Mm-hmm.
Or, oh, I've got a headache.
Yeah.
Oh, this is the second day in a row I've had a headache. Oh, 1 week later I've had a headache.
Yeah.
Every day I've had whatever. So when the physical symptoms come in, I just can't emphasize enough, stop. Reach out to Moira or Deb. Like, I'm just going to emphasize, when the physical symptom come in, get onto it straight away. This is stuff you can't hide under the blanket.
No,
And whether
because
it's as a headache, because that's not a small thing.
yeah.
That's just the first, flashcard.
Well, the thing is, to your point, that when the physical symptoms are there, it's actually a problem that has been around you for quite some time because energetically it's already been there. And you've been running away and stuffing it down and pretending it's not there and saying, no, I don't want to be a bother, or I don't want to ask for help, or what will people think if I reached out and asked for help here?
People think of me.
Yeah.
Who cares? Who cares? You had a headache for 10 days in a row. Really?
Yeah. Yep.
Do you want the headache to go permanently without taking a pill, without doing anything medical? Do you just want to? Yeah. It's just thinking
Yes.
of. Yeah. I think, and I loosely put in there, reach out to Moira and Debz. I loosely put that, but that's honestly a tip on its own, because we talked about at the start. The moment you even connect with us or attempt to connect with us, and we haven't responded, or I don't mean attempt, but like you've started putting it out there to us.
Yeah.
Already shifts that PEMS that you're at a 10 or beyond a 10. It's
Mhm.
already shifted.
Yep.
Whether it's shifted to a 9 or an 8 or a 5, whatever, it's already started. Like you are honoring yourself.
Yeah.
You're
And the
going, I'm a
energetics have
worthy player
started
in
to,
this world.
yeah,
Yeah.
the energetics have started to conspire, because this is it. We are all multi-layered, multi-dimensional beings. So like you're saying, is that one reach out and make the appointment, or reach out and book the call, then there's a part of you saying I am worthy of my own commitment to doing something, and this person's going to help me. But I love your example about by the time you talk to the person, it's like, well, it's all resolved.
Yeah. Amount of times that's happened, I'm just laughing. I'm going, yeah, no shit, Sherlock. That's what I want to say. Whoops. But it is. It is that. And I think, I think if you had 30 days to live and you didn't know you had 30 days to live, and you spent 20 days of that with a headache, every day with a headache, you've taken 20 days of being off purpose and what inspires you, and having to deal with a headache or whatever it is. So you don't know, I'm trying to say, you don't know when your time's up. So live each day amazingly, magically. Like, don't let these problems take you right down, because this problem, you could be done.
Yeah.
Sounds morbid, but I want to say, wake up, live life. And this problem is actually not as big as probably what you think the moment you share it with someone.
Mm-hmm.
And the moment you start unpacking it, but you don't want to be living your life in a 10 every day.
Yeah.
No one wants to see our friends or family or a complete stranger live in that 10 head.
No, absolutely not.
It is a flipping hard place to stay. It's draining, it's tiring, it's exhausting, it's aging you. You know, an inspired life lifts your vibration. It just has a different turn to it.
A quick wee message before we get back to this episode. You can get access to a special gift Moira and Debz have put together for you. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift. When you sign up, you'll receive instant access to an inner peace kit and the 30 Days of Wisdom program, both of which is intended to help you feel deliciously motivated right away. Go to deliciouslymotivatedmindset.com/gift.
But you know, the other thing in that is that if when you're not living your inspired life, or you're not getting in touch with, you're denying the collective, or you're denying this world your gift, your light, your unique piece. Every one of us has a unique role to play for the collective, for the universal experience. And so for any of us to get too stuck in problems thinking, and that's all we can see, without letting it go and flowing with it, and doing the things that light you up, then you're kind of missing the mark. And it just feels heavy. But like I said, it's denying the gift of you to everyone else. Right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Yeah, it does. I was just thinking to, when you live an inspired life, like I live a pretty inspired life. There's definitely 100% things I could change. Not 100% things I could change. There's definitely things I can change.
Mm-hmm.
But I think living an inspired life has a timeless, it's just a beautiful place to be. Like, why would you not want to be part of that? Why would you want to be in that slump? Like that's, yeah.
But so here's the thing though too, is that you visiting, I think I think we all do it, visit the slump, pass through.
Oh,
right?
Yeah. Look, check out the town as you're driving through.
Yeah. Well, because it actually can
up.
inform you of the things that light you up, right? Because it's the contrast of like, oh, there's the slump, but passing through, thanks very much. Right?
Yeah,
to acknowledge
totally.
it.
And I don't, it's like walking past a smorgasbord of food. I don't need to take every plate off that.
Yes.
You don't need to have everything, even though we all do, and then we overflow it, and then we leave half of it, and then we feel bad. For all people who weren't there, well, that's my scenario of smorgasbord. But you don't need to take everything off the smorgasbord. Just take what's right for you. And yeah. I think when we think about problem solving, I want to go back to the universe is not going to give you a problem if you can't deal with it.
Right.
And if you get yourself into that slump, I encourage people to go back to a moment when you didn't think there was a solution at the time.
Mm-hmm.
You were in such a funk, you did not see there was a solution at the time. And I would love people to encourage people to look at what's the gratitude they got out of that. What's the beautifulness of that experience? And you may go, there was none.
Right.
Because that's usually the standard response. Yeah. And that's okay. That's okay. But it's time to have a look at that gratitude for that problem.
Mm-hmm.
And actually work. And then when you look at that gratitude for that problem you're not bringing over from that plate on that smorgasbord. You're not bringing it over to the next time you go to a smorgasbord.
Right.
You're not bringing that story. You're not attaching to that story anymore. You're actually going, oh my God, I remember when I had a problem and it was, I can't even think of a problem now. I've just had to solve the gardening. I looked at the garden and went, what the heck's happened? And my solution was, well, I'm not going to do it. And I
Right.
rang a gardener, and a gardener came and did it. Now, you may go, oh, Deborah, not everyone has money for a garden. Not everyone can do that. And da, da, da. Yeah, I get that. That just happened to be the scenario I was thinking about. Okay, people, because I look at my garden, I know that's just happened for me. But when you look at that, I'm not going to look at the garden next time and go, oh my God, I've got to do the garden. I remember that took me, and I avoided it for another month. And it became heavier. That baggage that you're carrying around became so heavy. Instead of going, you know what, there was a lot of gratitude in me discovering that problem. And the garden, I want to say the garden is just a small problem. I just want to say, to me, that was a small problem. It was an easy, quick solution.
Mhm.
It's just an example I gave. So it doesn't matter the scale of the problem. It's actually looking at the gratitude of that particular experience and transforming that story that's sitting in your head and moving it into your heart, because that's what it's about. Problem solving, living an inspired life. All world leaders go, what's the problem I'm going to solve today? I think if you're a leader, you go, what problem am I going to solve today?
Mm.
I wake up and I go, what's my problem I'm going to solve today? And I know I've got clients who have got stuff going on. I'm like, oh, how exciting for me. I live for that. I don't live for that, but it does definitely energize me. So,
Right.
and I have gratitude around problem situations. I don't know. That was a big, long-winded conversation, Deborah, to get that out.
So, you know what it made me feel like when you were describing it, though, is to adopt a mindset and watch the verbiage that you use. Is that if you get up and look at your schedule for the day and you say, oh, what do I have to do?
Oh,
What do I
yeah. It's
have to do?
language again.
Exactly. Whereas the mindset that you were just speaking from is, look at what I get to do.
Yeah,
Right?
celebrate.
Yes, feel the difference of that.
Yeah.
Feel the difference about oh, I have to do this today, to I get to do this today. Right? And that's actually, maybe it's the same task.
And it's literally slumped over in the chair to the shoulders back.
Yep.
Like it's like, ooh.
And the shoulders back, and then you're leading from your heart.
Yeah.
Because that's what that feels like to me, right?
Yeah. But it doesn't have to be hard.
No. No, and that's the premise that's so important here. This idea of out-of-the-box problem solving. It doesn't have to be like trajectory into the cosmos type of thinking. It can actually just be watch your words. Watch your words internally and the ones you speak out about and to yourself.
Yeah.
Right? I think words are so, so important.
Yeah. Well, but I also want to emphasize, and I know when Moira said internally, the universe is always listening to you.
Mm-hmm.
And if you'll say, oh, I'm fat, and then you go out and you say, no, I'm not fat, I'm thinking thin and all those things, you're still telling yourself you're fat.
Yeah.
Like still, internal dialogue is so ingrained in there. But it's not hard to change those words. It's not hard. But even if you're saying that stuff to yourself and then you're fronting very differently to people, there's reflection and transparency. Reflection is your own internal thoughts, so be careful of them.
Mm-hmm.
And transparency is what you express. Be careful of them. Just choose your words wisely.
Yes. Wisely. And you and I have riffed on and talked about the 4 agreements so many times. The first of the 4 agreements is to be impeccable with your word. And with that statement, it means being impeccable with the thoughts that you allow to spin in your head, the verbiage that you use internally. Like saying I'm fat, that's not being impeccable with your word. Sorry.
No.
Sorry, but not sorry.
But even if you hear yourself go, oh, I shouldn't eat this extra piece of cake. By the way, I don't really like cake. I'd rather have potato chips.
Oh, I'll have the cake and you have the chips.
Oh, great. Perfect. My partner's so sweet and I'm the carb loader here, so it's not hearing that. But even if you say that, Moira's got this great one that when you hear yourself say it, you go, cancel. And it's a fun way. It's not fully going to cancel it, but it's 99.9% going to cancel it because you've embedded laughter and fun and that into it, and you've let it go.
and you've caught yourself midstream with it, right? You're like, oh, cancel, cancel, cancel. Off I go.
And that's just a fun way to go, duh, go, oh, cancel. No, that's not it. I'm, think thin or whatever you want to reframe it. But cancel is a fun way to cancel that word.
Cancel that word.
I often
Tell
say
yourself
that.
a different one.
I laugh.
like
I laugh because it just changes your state. Like, oh,
Yeah.
that's very probably loud. That was me clicking my fingers. Yeah,
Changes
we've
your
gone
state, just like that.
Can we do another one of these? Because there's like so much. Feel like I think I do that at the end of most of these. But it's wise for us to wrap up now. Otherwise, it's going to be a longer podcast.
Really long one.
Really long one on our tips to inspire out of the box problem solving. So if you didn't get a pen and paper or note-taking device at the start, grab it now. Grab it now because we're just going to go over our tips before we wrap up. We actually had 3 that came into the first sentence, I think.
I think we did. Yep.
I'm going to let Moira start with 3 or 4 of them. Just crack on, Moira. Throw them out there. Let's go.
Okay. So the first one was we and like you say, there was multifacets in this one. It was about letting go of your emotions, letting go of desperation and your attachment of everything. Like be letting that all of that just float on by. So it's about surrendering to what is and trusting you are in the right place at the right time. And so it's about so important that, because that actually is funny, and this is often the way, is that a lot of our tips inform the other ones, because I was just thinking that idea, the emotion of desperation, that can often come from I should. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, desperation jumps straight into your physical body and you feel heavy.
Yeah.
Like, to me, the moment desperation comes in, I feel weighed down. Like I go to a 10. I feel like I've got stones in my gumboots.
Right.
Wellington, as you call them.
Welly boots. Yep.
You feel like you're actually bogged down when you're holding on to something so heavy. You've packed another 25 kgs in your suitcase and you're lugging that around extra. No one needs to do that stuff. Like, no one needs to do that. And they all just float into one. So the next one I had was your truth. Your truth here. And access and walk with your truth. And when I think about your truth, it's your truth, not someone else's.
Right.
It's you. It's your one, which flowed into the other one. which look, they're all just one. I think this time we didn't actually go, this is a separate tip. I'm looking at these going, these just all flowed. Is that don't go against your core morals and ethics.
Yeah.
And when Moira talked about your truth, that's all part of that. Don't go against your soul. Don't go against what you've been brought up with, unless you want to. Unless you want to and it feels right for you. But I'm just saying, don't go against all that stuff that you believe.
Yeah, your beliefs, your mindset, your values. What do you value?
Check in with those beliefs. And are they yours or somebody else's? We talked will plate, are they yours that you're holding on to, or others? And if they're morals and ethics that you've been brought up with and now you're a completely different person, that's okay. That's okay. And don't disrespect those morals and ethics from back there. Acknowledge them and go, that's not me now.
Yeah.
That's not me now. And that's okay.
Yep, absolutely. The next one that I did, and it's actually kind of referencing the ones we've just covered, is where we did talk about should and letting go of shoulds, but using this as an introspective prompt, that if you're saying, I should do this, is where did you deviate from your truth? Are you being carted off by some kind of agreement without checking in, is this right for me? How does this make me feel about me? That's my favorite question.
Just added another little bit down here. They all just flowed. I'm laughing going, I didn't even know if I had numbers. And then the other thing I had down here was your community, and I just wrote community. And have the right people around you, but not only the ones that lift you up. You don't want everyone to go, you're amazing, and you don't want that. You actually want people to go, you know what, Moira, you need to wake up. You've been this, this, and this.
Yeah.
You want the people to make you accountable to things that you're blinded by. I remember my great auntie, good old Floss, remember I had put on weight, and I actually can't remember if it was a cow or a horse. And she said, no, it was a cow. I just remembered then. She said, you look like you've eaten a cow.
Oh my gosh.
My Auntie Floss has passed away now, and she was in her 99th, she was turning 100. Yeah, she was in her 99th year, and she was oh my God, she was hysterical. She spoke her truth. You knew what she was thinking. You know, I remember as a young child, I knew what she was thinking from then. And I remember thinking, wonder what you're going to be, as I got older, I'm like, wonder what you're going to be like when you're really old. And she still spoke her truth. She didn't worry about offending you. She said, Deborah, you look like you've eaten a cow. It's like, what do you mean? And she's like, take a good look at yourself. And she said to me, she even went on, because I was left with, I can't believe you're saying that to me. She said, you need to get naked and look in the mirror and turn around and look at your back fat. And I was like, now I'm getting punched in my mind from this older woman who's half my height. And I'm like, I don't like what you're saying. But she spoke the truth. I had put on weight and no one had told me that. So the story behind that is you don't want to just have the pom-pom cheerleaders around you. You want those people around you who actually can call you on your stuff. But call you on your stuff, not their past stories.
Mm-hmm.
If that makes sense.
It does make sense.
Good old
Well,
Auntie Floss.
in all of that, that kind of related to what you talked about, that we all want to be seen, heard, and acknowledged. And so that actually does really help with the checking in with your tribe. Who are the people around you, and do they see you? Do they hear you? Do they acknowledge you? And of course, those types of things start internally also, right? So I was always being aware of your tribe. The next one I had down here was that to always remember that any problem or discombobulation or challenge or obstacle that we face, we can come through it. The universe does not gift us with things that we cannot overcome. Sometimes things take a wee bit longer. Sometimes we need to call in the troops to help us, kind of thing, right? Call in our tribe. But it's always, I think that's such a fundamental piece, that just because you cannot see your way through doesn't mean it's not there. So that's a really, really important reminder that the universe is a loving universe. Right? Yeah.
We're here for a purpose. We're totally here for a purpose.
Mm-hmm.
To live an inspired life. Whatever that inspired life looks like.
Whatever feels like to you. Yeah.
For you. Yeah. The next one I've got is brain dump.
Yeah.
Get it all out. Get it all out. Get it all out of your head. And once you've done that, you can start prioritizing. You can deal with it. But when you brain dump, I would love you to do your PEMS before you brain dump, before you break up is what I was about to say. Before you brain dump, do your PEMS before and then do your PEMS after. And your PEMS, remember, was those physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual. You check in because you'll actually laugh. I believe you'll laugh and go, wow, no wonder I was a 9 because look how much I've had. Well, even the things I've got down there, that's not even my stuff. That's for my kids, or that's for that. And like when you see all that, you'll just laugh and go, well, that will explain why. So brain dumping just frees up so much time, and that's pen and paper, get it all out, notes on your phone, and do it wherever. Yeah. Don't do it at the traffic lights because you're not allowed to touch your phone. But, if you're driving and you're like, okay, I've got this, grab some pen and paper and start brain dumping. Not while you're driving, but, if you're going, my head's going really full. So you don't need to be sitting in the office is what I'm trying to say to brain dump. Just start. Can you just start? Yeah.
Well, what that does is it clears out all of the chatter that may be a misdirect or kind of clouding your vision to see, here's the task that I have to do right now. This is what I can do right now. But we can't do that until we clear out all the blah, blah, blah. that keeps going, right? It drives us crazy.
And that's what it's like, blah, blah, blah.
It
It's
is.
just like, blah, 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 blah. It is. And
Yeah.
that's heavy. It's
Mhm.
heavy. And, you know, I'm, yeah, it ages you. That's all I'm going to say. Ages you. You just get
does.
old.
It does.
You get old when it's heavy like that. Yeah.
So talking about heavy, that leads me to the next tip that I had here was that if you are having physical symptoms, that really is saying with bold and many, many underlines, stop. Because if something's a physical symptom, this is when we were talking about headaches or achy in your neck or sore back or something, it's a problem or something that needs to be resolved that's been sitting for quite some time because it already happened energetically.
So it's going before the headache shots turned up.
Yeah. And one of the best ways to do that is to do things like the brain dump and tell yourself the truth about what you're feeling, and using things like when I'm saying I should do this, it's like, oh, wait, just got to pause for a moment and take a step back, reset.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've got here, I talked about the Wonder Woman and the Superman personas that we have to do it all on your own. You're not a bother. You know, you don't have to do everything on your own. There's clearly Moira and I. There's clearly Moira and I here, but there's other people around. So just know that you don't have to do everything on your own. Yes, I mean, I don't know how many times, and I think as a single parent, people, you know, they were always like, you don't have to do it on your own. And I had to hear it constantly until till my daughter's about 3, and then I went, you know what? I don't have to do this on my own. Oh, what a relief. You know, so watch your ego when people go, you don't have to do this alone. I'm here for you. Watch your ego go, I'm not going to ask you. You know, why? So you can like just watch your ego and go, you know what? Thank you. I'll take that help. You know, that's it. Yeah.
Well, that's why I've said that to people too, is how many times do you need to hear that before you actually believe it or step into it?
How many times have you heard that this week? Is it time that we deal with that? Because your story's starting to get a little bit boring. Yeah.
The one that I have here is about, and we talked about appreciating and having gratitude for problems and obstacles and discombobulations. But one of the things, this is where I was saying about watching your language, watching your verbiage, because it will actually quite inform you as to what it is you're doing, whether you're into problem solving and in flow with your truth. So if you find yourself at the beginning of a day or any time during a day saying, oh, I have to do this, that is such a heavy thing. I have to do this. Can you flip it?
I need to. Yeah, I need to. I should do. I ought to do this. Yeah, like I have to. Need
I've got to.
Yeah, got to.
Yeah.
They're all desperation.
Well, they're also they feel like they're being inspired from outside of us. It's not coming from our heart, because that's where the I choose to, or I get to, or I love to. Those are and they marry up beautifully with what you talked about an inspired life, right? So try shifting those words and feel into the energy of it. I love the energy of that I get to do this. Oh, yay, look what I get to do today, right?
Yeah. And that's exactly it. So I do go, oh, what problem am I going to solve today? How exciting. I pick my problems. I control my day as much as I can. I say that and I like, yesterday you didn't because this is what happened and you had traffic and but I try and control my day as much as I can. And when I say control my day, I definitely go with flow, but I pick my problems for the day. I pick my whatever's going on. I'm going to have this client and we've got this problem or whatever. And even if I'm not having a client, I will still pick a problem. Like, so I pick problems and solve them in a day, not in a day. Well, yeah, but daily. And we do that when you just change. You're not fearful of I'm trying to say is you're not fearful of a problem coming up. You're like, ooh, what do we got here? and it's celebrating it. Yeah.
Well, it's the thing too, and this would be another tip that I didn't write down, but it's about the being a creator being. We are all creator beings. And so, you know how you were just saying about you control your day, and then you sort of went, oh, well, no, about this, blah, blah, blah. No,
It
you
was
actually
because yesterday I did
created that
create
too.
that. I created that truck that I stuck behind. I know that. I didn't want to, I was like, no, because I was grumpy with the truck and I was late. I do know that. I
Yeah.
do know that. I didn't say that.
But the thing is then, and I love those kind of pieces, because even when maybe you are held up in traffic or something, then pause for a wee minute and go, okay, what's possible? What's the gift? I created this. Oh, I created this because I got to hear this song on the radio, or because I arrived at this specific perfect time.
Yeah. Well, yesterday I was frustrated, and then I went, okay, well, I'll just move that second appointment to later in the day, and I can definitely do that. And you know what? And I have to say, once the moment I found a solution, the truck pulled over. I was like, are you serious? I've stuck behind you for 15 minutes and I've sulked and sobbed at my head and I've gone, I'm going to be late, and I've blamed you and I've done all that because I did. Don't think that I'm harmonious, because I'm. If anyone thinks I'm harmonious, then we better sort that out. And the moment I let that attachment go, the moment I went, actually, this is going to work, and I can do this, and I put those strategies in place. What did the truck pulled over?
That's beautiful, because you surrendered.
I did finally, after stomping my feet.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. I've got down here, it doesn't have to be hard.
Yeah,
I think that
I like that.
reminding yourself it doesn't have to be hard. Just like life doesn't have to be hard.
It doesn't have to be difficult or hard. I agree. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Moira did say, I don't know how many tips you've got, because I've got like that last one, the 4 agreements.
Yeah, that's right. That was the last one that I had too.
Yeah.
Being impeccable with your word. And that was kind of, I was talking about that when I said that I get to, as opposed to I have to.
And the fun one I put in, well, Moira does, is she goes, cancel.
Yeah.
You know what? I actually can't say the second cancel and the third cancel like I do the first one, because I get giggly. Cancel. And I get that stuttering of my words, and I just giggle because I'm like, oh, there it was again. But I laugh at it. I celebrate that. Instead of just going, cancel, that's really bad. I'm a bad person. I need to be punished. None of that. I just laugh. And I honestly can't say that I get that second cancel out. Cancel. It doesn't go like that. It goes, cancel.
But she's got a big grin on her face.
It does.
I love it.
Well, that was a great one.
That was awesome. I loved this conversation.
There was, my piece of paper is crazy. Tips to inspire out of the box problem solving. I trust people got value out of today, and you understood some tips. Now, you may not want to do all the tips, and you just want to take one, then pick one. And pick one and go, you know what, I'm going to implement this for the next 3 months, and I'm going to see if I can let the attachment go. Right? That was our first. I'm going to see if I can do this, and I'm going to do it for a time, because I'm not going to do it all today. I'm going to put a time on. I'm going to do a 3-month time or an 8-week or something, because you're going to get consistent with it, and then bring the next one in. Don't let yourself sit with those. So I trust you've got some great little tips today. I've got some great ones that I'm going, oh, there's a story I told today. That's interesting. That came up. Or there's a few things I've written down. And I love that. So I trust that people got some value out today. We're just going to check in with our PEMS, which was our physical, emotional, mental, and spiritual, which clearly we did at the start, and halfway, just to check in where you are. Moira was a 1 and I was a 2. And listeners, whatever you were, let us know where you were and where you are now. So what are you now, Moira?
I'm a 0. How about you?
I'm a 0, but I would say I'm a 0, but I've also got, I'm a little bit giggly, like, oh, there's some goodies in here.
Yeah.
So because of that, I'm actually probably going to say I'm a 0.5, just because I feel a little bit like, oh, there were some good ones in there, and I'm going to I'm going to look at something from there and and it's given me some ideas in a program I've got. So yeah, tips to inspire out of the box problem solving. I'm going to say I'm a 0.5 purely just because I've got a little bit of a giggle going on.
I love it.
Yeah. So let us know where you're at from those numbers. And we're going to say, if you liked, I'm going to say, not we are going to, if you liked this and you resonated, the next step is share it.
Yeah.
Share this with people you are thinking of, who have problems. Share this with them, people who you laugh with. Just share this with people or who's your go-to.
Yeah. Or who you feel need a wee bit of inspiration.
Tag them in the comments of who's your go-to person when you have a problem.
Yeah.
Unless they're children who don't have social media, then don't tag them. But just say their name. My son, Bob. But share that, because we love hearing these conversations and we love knowing there's others out there who are problem solving.
Mm-hmm.
So share them with us. But I would like to say, Moira and I are available.
Absolutely.
Moira and I are available to help you with your, and I'm going to say problem, quotation
or your
mark.
discombobulations.
Yeah, with your pens being out of order.
Yep.
There we go. That. We are here for you, so please reach out. Thank you for today, listeners. Tips to inspire out of the box problem solving. Thank you, Moira. Thank you for the internet to work today.
I know. I'm glad for that. Thank you, dear Deb.
Thanks to my gardener.
Thank you, listeners. We'll be back with you next time.
Bye. See you next. Bye.
Yeah, bye.